My name is Phillip Crocker, and I'm a financial coach here at Resource One Credit Union. I'm here today to share information about handling your finances when dealing with the death of a loved one. Now, when you deal with the death of a loved one, there's obviously the emotional component involved, and it's really difficult losing a loved one. But there's also the financial ramifications of losing a loved one. Now, there's all types of variables and things that come into play financially when you have your monies at a financial institution, or maybe that you're a part of an estate or a beneficiary of the person that has passed away. Because there's so many different variables, it would probably be unwise for me to provide any type of guidance here today in this session. My recommendation is that you go into one of our branches and sit down with one of our teammates and really discuss what's going on with the accounts here at the credit union. Again, you might be a joint on the account and things are a little bit simpler. You may be a beneficiary on the account. There may have been legal ramifications of a will left. There's so many variables and so many different ways of whether or not you may or may not have access to monies involved in the credit union. So without giving you any specific advice, I would say my guidance to you is come in, sit down with one of our teammates in the credit union, or if you would like to contact a budget buddy and ask them some questions first, maybe before you go in, to find out maybe what items that you will need in order to make a visit in person to one of our locations, to find out about discovering information about accounts here at the credit union for the deceased, and to see if you have access to those information, first of all, or even access to those monies. That would be a great place to start. You know, many times with the death of a loved one, the surviving party discovers that the person that's deceased had a lot of debt. And the questions come up and arise, well, do I have to pay it? Well, if you were a joint on the account with the deceased, then yeah, the responsibility falls back to you. But if you were not on any of the credit agreements, do you have to pay it? Well, not so much. However, the estate may have some responsibility in paying debts according to what the debts may be. Creditors will look for ways to obtain monies from the estate if they're legally entitled to it. Now that opens up really a portion that here at Resource One, we can't give specific guidance on debts and who has to pay, who does not have to pay in regards to an estate. And that's why it's probably important to contact and gain counsel from a lawyer to find out, do you have to pay things and do you not? Now, personally, unless you're, again, a joint, have some responsibility, you'll never have to pay it. However, the estate of the deceased may be responsible, especially when it's something like a government loan, perhaps like a student loan, okay? Person may have been deceased and had a student loan with the US government. And I can pretty much assure you, the US government will want their monies back from the estate. I can rest assured that that's a high probability. But again, seek legal counsel for any definitive answers to whether or not the estate has to pay, or if you have to pay, you'll know that if you're part of that account as a joint owner. Situation that the deceased is a financial partner, it's a loved one, and you are charged with taking care of maybe their final wishes, their burial, their memorial service, the last things that people do when people pass away. And that involves expenses. And so a lot of people, they will go through and they'll figure, well, how am I going to make all this happen? Things weren't planned out. And now I'm faced with the death of a loved one, a death of a financial partner. And how do I recover financially? Well, again, to deal with the immediacy of what happens financially, obviously there is the burial or cremation of the person. There's memorial services, funerals, things of that nature, whatever you subscribe to or believe in. Obviously, those all cost money. And if pre-planning hasn't been done, you're going to have a lot of immediate expenses. It's also a time that you're going to be very emotional, and you have to be careful of who you deal with, out there taking care of all of these different types of circumstances and situations that you go through. You will be emotional because of the death of a loved one, but there's also going to be the financial ramifications, and it's going to be tough. Savings is important. If you got that, you're going to have to use your savings. Obviously, find out if there's any kind of insurance policies that can help out eventually with the expenses. But you're going to have the immediacy of taking care of things things first. So if you don't have the money to deal with it, you're going to have to borrow the money. You're going to have to go to a reputable lender, Resource One, and you're going to have to see if you qualify and have access to borrowing money to take care of things. And then to recover from it, you're going to have to create a financial plan of how do I have these extra expenses in my life. Maybe if you were dependent upon, again, the income of the person that has passed away, there's those ramifications. You have less income in your cash flow. There is lots of variables involved with how you recover from this financially. So the best guidance I can give you is sit down with one of our budget buddies. Talk to them about all the different options. They will help you go through lots of different scenarios and lots of different options in order to take care of things financially moving forward and create a new way forward for you to be as successful as you can financially during this difficult time of your life. We've discussed dealing with the death of a loved one, a financial partner. Now, we've only just touched a small portion of what goes on during this scenario. And we understand that everyone's situation is different. So in order to get more personalized information, resources, or guidance to help you create a financial plan during this time, see the video description below for a link to our Budget Buddy page. You can search a list of our budget buddies and set up an appointment to meet with them. Remember, this service is free for Resource One Credit Union members.